Images of bravery, images of great courage, images of devastation. Let's bring in for some more analysis Shadi Alshhadeh, who is in Geneva, Shadi's spokesperson for the Union des Organisations de Secours et de Soins Médicaux, which is a medical aid charity. Thank you very much for being with us, sir. And I'm wondering how you're feeling right now, seeing those images and seeing the work that is going on the Syrian side. What are the thoughts running through your mind?
To be honest, thank you for hosting me. To be honest, in spite of the fact of having an accumulated experience over a decade working in a conflict context and in challenging conditions, still the past 48 hours were like nothing before. The entire region was in shock, not only air shock, but also mental shock. Everyone is affected and touched and directly, personally feel targeted. My colleagues who work usually from Turkey to manage the humanitarian, to operate some humanitarian activities in Syria, were suddenly themselves touched like the ones in Syria usually. They were working from the streets, from the outside, from the basketball courts, from their own cars. No one could stay at home or in the office. Colleagues in Syria took a moment to realize, to understand that this was not another airstrike. Took a moment to understand that this was a kind of an airstrike for all the region. Then mobilized, gathered, tracked one another, secured that this one is safe, that one is not, this one is family there, that one is family not there, can't be reached, can't be reached. It took a moment for them to start working, in spite of 10 years working in the worst conflict, in the worst humanitarian crisis the world have witnessed since World War II.
And that conflict area that you've just been talking about, Shadi, it's become a conflict that many people have forgotten about. But while this disaster is striking and while this disaster is being coped with, that conflict continues, doesn't it?
The conflict continues. We ignore it. We did not forget it. The international community did not forget it, but ignored it, put it aside as a non-priority, because it's not a hot topic on the media, because it's complicated, because we don't want to deal with something that we won't succeed with. It's kind of gave up. These people were left alone to deal with their destiny. To be honest, I asked my colleagues, and that's the usual thing. You would ask me, what do you think people need? My partners, my donors would ask me, what do you think people need? And the collective answer from colleagues on the ground was, we need the international mercy. And this is a new word to be used, the solidarity of the international community. We need a shared responsibility. And the humanitarian aid to be apolitical, to be not politicized. You get it, you don't get it. This cross-border is open, this cross-border is closed. And this is one example. We have 5 or 6 cross-border between Turkey and Syria. Only one is authorized to pass humanitarian aid. And this one is suspended its work activities due to the earthquake. What do you do now?
So getting aid through, apart from the fact there are still bombs coming from the sky from the Assad regime, you're saying access is still restricted. So how can you get the aid through to these people? This is a horrific situation.
Well, as there is a conflict on the field, on the ground, there is another conflict in the UN Security Council. There is a veto being used over and over or threatened. The cross-borders that were authorized for the UN to pass humanitarian aid started with 4 crossing border, then 2. It was for 1 year. Now every 6 months we have to go through this conflict again. The only one single cross-border point that allow humanitarian aid to go through is today suspended due to some damages. Or we ignore the reason, but it's closed from one side. And then how do you, as a state, as a UN agency, pass the humanitarian aid illegally? It's not possible. Then you leave 4.5 million. 4.5 million people, 2/3 of them are internally displaced. That means these people who do not belong to this region, they came after their home were destroyed. They came to this region to take a refuge. Their home was again hit and destroyed yesterday, and still left alone, can't get aid access, can't get humanitarian access. If the conditions of the last 40 hours do not unite us, do not allow us and oblige us to join forces, put humanitarian values first, put humanitarian work first, then please tell me what should do that.
Shadi Alshhadeh in Geneva from the Union des Organisations the Secours et de Soins Médicaux, a medical aid charity. And of course, Shadi there speaking with his experience of northwestern Syria, very much evident. Thank you, sir, very much indeed for outlining for us the extent of the problem. It is absolutely mind-blowing when you think about it. Not just an earthquake, but of course the ongoing conflict, which is still there with the internally displaced people. And as we hear from Shadi, so many people at risk. Shadi, thank you very much indeed.